Hello, beautiful minds. Welcome back to Listen and Learn English Easy. I'm your host, Sarah, and I'm so glad you're here today. You know, there's something magical about stories. When we get lost in a narrative, our brains open up and absorb language naturally. No textbooks, no memorization, just pure learning through listening. Today, I have a special story for you. It's about Maya, a photographer who ran away from her old life after something terrible happened, only to discover that the past has a way of finding us when we least expect it. Here's the beautiful part. While you listen to Maya's journey, your brain will naturally pick up 5 essential English tenses: present simple for routines, past simple for completed actions, present perfect for life experiences, past perfect for sequences in the past, and future with going to for plans. So grab your headphones, take a deep breath, and let's step into Maya's world. Remember, you don't need to analyze every grammar rule right now. Just relax, visualize the scenes, and let the language wash over you. Let's begin. Part 1. Present simple. Current routine. Every morning, Maya wakes up at 6 o'clock. She doesn't use an alarm clock anymore. The sun streams through her thin white curtains, and the birds outside her window sing so loudly that sleeping in feels impossible. She lives in a tiny cottage by the harbor in a town called Blue Cove. The population is only 2,000 people. Everyone knows everyone here. When Maya walks to the market for her coffee, the shopkeeper always asks, "How's the light today?" Because he knows she used to be a photographer. But Maya doesn't take photos anymore. She works at the local library instead. She organizes books, helps children find stories, and spends her lunch break sitting on the old stone wall, watching the fishing boats come and go. "I have a simple life now," she often tells herself. "I don't need the chaos of the city. I don't miss the noise, the traffic, or the pressure." And every evening, when the sun sets over the water, she walks home alone, makes tea, and reads until her eyes feel heavy. This is her routine. This is her safety. This is how she survives. Part 2. Past simple, the backstory. But life wasn't always this quiet. 2 years ago, Maya lived in New York City. She rented a small studio apartment in Brooklyn and worked as a fashion photographer. She photographed models for magazines, attended glamorous parties, and wore expensive shoes that hurt her feet. Last March, everything changed. Maya had a major exhibition at a famous gallery in Manhattan. She prepared for 6 months. She selected her best 40 photographs, printed them on expensive paper, and hung them on the white walls with shaking hands. On opening night, 500 people arrived. The room buzzed with champagne glasses and compliments. But at 8:30 p.m., during her speech, the fire alarm screamed through the building. Everyone evacuated. The sprinklers activated. Water poured down from the ceiling like rain, ruining every single photograph. Maya stood on the sidewalk in her red dress, watching her career literally dissolve and drip onto the pavement. A critic from the New York Times stood next to her. He didn't say, "I'm sorry." He simply looked at the wet ruins and said, "Well, that's unfortunate." The next day, Maya packed 2 suitcases. She canceled her lease, sold her professional cameras, and bought a bus ticket to the farthest coastal town she could find. She didn't say goodbye to her friends. She didn't look back. She arrived in Blue Cove on a rainy Tuesday, moved into the cottage, and decided that Maya, the photographer, no longer existed. Part 3. Present perfect. Recent discovery/change. And for 18 months, her plan worked. Maya has lived peacefully in Blue Cove. She has made a few friends. She has learned to bake bread. She has completely forgotten the excitement and the pain of her old life. Until last Tuesday. It was a regular morning. Maya was sorting through a box of donated books at the library when something heavy fell out from between 2 old cookbooks. It hit the wooden floor with a thud. It was a camera. Not a digital camera, but an old film camera from the 1980s, a Pentax K1000. Dust covered the body, but the lens looked clean. Maya hasn't touched a camera since New York. Her hands have stayed away from viewfinders and shutter buttons. Her eyes have avoided compositions and lighting angles. But something about this camera felt different. It felt familiar. She turned it over in her hands, and her heart stopped. There was a small engraving on the bottom. "To my light catcher, love, Dad." Maya's father gave her this camera. 15 years ago, on her 20th birthday, he placed it in her hands and said, "Show the world what you see." She thought she lost it years ago. She has searched for it many times. She has wondered if she left it in a taxi or if someone stole it from a cafe. But somehow, it has traveled through time and space to find her here, in this quiet library on this ordinary Tuesday. Part 4. Past Perfect. Deeper flashback/sequence. Maya sat on the library floor staring at the camera, and memories flooded back like tide. Before she became famous, before she moved to New York, before she wore those painful, expensive shoes, Maya had been a different person. She had studied photography at a small community college in Ohio. She had worked 3 part-time jobs to afford film and developing chemicals. She had spent every weekend wandering through forests and abandoned buildings, capturing light and shadow. By the time she graduated, she had already won 2 small awards. She had built a portfolio that impressed the toughest professors. She had promised her father that she would never stop creating, no matter how difficult the path became. Her father had always believed in her. He had saved money for years to buy her that Pentax camera. He had hung her first terrible, blurry photographs on his office wall with pride. But then, 3 years ago, he had gotten sick. Very sick. Maya had flown home to Ohio immediately. She had spent 3 months in hospital waiting rooms, holding his hand and taking photos of the sunset through the window, the last light he would ever see. When he died, Maya had already scheduled the New York exhibition. Everyone expected her to cancel, to grieve, to pause. But Maya had thought that if she worked harder, created more, pushed through the pain, she could outrun her grief. She had been wrong. The exhibition had failed. Her father had gone. And Maya had realized that photography had stolen everything from her: her time, her peace, and now, the person she loved most. That's why she had sold the cameras. That's why she had run. That's why she had buried the artist inside her and become a ghost. Part 5. Future/present perfect continuous. Resolution. But now, holding this camera, the ghost of her father's love, Maya feels something shift inside her chest. She stands up. She walks, not home, but down to the harbor. The fishermen are unloading their daily catch. The light is golden and soft, the kind of light she used to chase. Maya raises the camera to her eye. Her hands remember what her mind tried to forget. She focuses on an old fisherman repairing his net. His hands are weathered, strong, and beautiful. She presses the shutter. The sound is like a heartbeat. She hasn't taken a photo in 2 years, but she hasn't stopped seeing beauty. She has been observing, quietly, every single day. The way light hits the water in the morning, the wrinkles around the shopkeeper's eyes when he smiles, the stories written in the faces of Blue Cove. Maya looks at the camera and makes a decision. She is going to develop the mystery film inside first. She's going to see what unknown moments are frozen in time, waiting to be revealed. Then, she is going to buy new film. She is going to photograph the people of Blue Cove, not for magazines, not for fame, but because they deserve to be seen. She is going to create a small exhibition at the community center. She is going to call it The Light We Keep. And this time, she isn't running from pain. She is running toward healing. Maya walks home as the sun sets, the camera clutched to her heart. For the first time in 2 years, she isn't just surviving, she is living again. And that is where we'll leave Maya for today. Did you feel that moment of hope at the end? I certainly did. Now, let's take a moment to recognize what your brilliant brain just absorbed. You didn't study grammar charts, you experienced grammar in action. Let's review what you heard. Present simple. Maya wakes up. She walks to the market. The shopkeeper asks about the light. We use this for routines and habits. Past simple. She lived in New York, the alarm screamed. She packed her suitcases. These are completed actions at specific times in the past. Present perfect. She has lived in Blue Cove for 18 months. She has made friends. The camera has traveled through time. We use this for experiences that connect past to present, often with has or have. Past perfect. She had studied photography. Her father had saved money. Maya had scheduled the exhibition. This shows actions that happened before other past actions, the sequence of history. Future with going to. She is going to develop the film. She is going to create an exhibition. Clear plans and intentions. Here's your homework for this week. Try shadowing. Listen to this story again and speak along with me, copying my rhythm and intonation. Your mouth needs to feel these tenses, not just your brain. Past simple. She lived in New York. The alarm screamed. She packed her suitcases. These are completed actions at specific times in the past. Present perfect. She has lived in Blue Cove for 18 months. She has made friends. The camera has traveled through time. We use this for experiences that connect past to present, often with has or have. Past perfect. She had studied photography. Her father had saved money. Maya had scheduled the exhibition. This shows actions that happened before other past actions, the sequence of history. Here's your homework for this week. Try shadowing. Listen to this story again and speak along with me, copying my rhythm and intonation. Your mouth needs to feel these tenses, not just your brain. And remember Maya's lesson. Sometimes we run from pain, but our true calling always finds us again. Don't be afraid to pick up your own camera, whatever that means for you. I'm Sarah. Thank you for listening. Thank you for learning. And I'll see you in the next story. Until then, keep your hearts open and your ears ready. Goodbye, beautiful minds.